Yes. So let me start today's program. Vaishali has done most of the work. She has explained you the significance of today's Relics Day and how important it is. Let me also touch upon it very briefly. We have two important events associated today. One is the installation of the relics, what we call it as enshrinement of Sri Aurobindo's relics in the meditation hall. The second one is the inauguration of the meditation hall. We are going to see those very rare photographs which you have not seen so far, probably. I was fortunate enough to associate with this entire campus since 1988. So probably start right from cleaning the site and then fencing. We didn't have too many people, but we ourselves were laborers. We ourselves cleaned the tanks, etc. So that is how the whole thing started here. So in this, there are two important things. One is what is, as Vaishali explained, the concept of or the institution of relics in the occult language. It's not very new thing. There is always in occultism, we think that if there is a good person, he will have an impact on his surroundings. If he is good, then his surroundings will automatically get impacted by the good vibrations. This is a science which is in occult science, which has. So now it is not only that the objects which come in contact with such, for example, there is an enlightened person, Ramana Maharshi, for example, if you take whatever Ramana Maharshi used to touch, it used to get divinized. They say, they used to get, and somebody else comes and touches that object, they used to feel the vibrations. So this kind of a occult knowledge was available right from the beginning. So automatically, when one's consciousness raises, it goes up at higher level from the ordinary consciousness to higher levels. Not only your external atmosphere or your environment which gets impacted, but that elevation or the higher up, going higher up in your consciousness will also affect each cell of our body. All body parts of our being, of that, when we raise our consciousness, go higher up in our consciousness, state of consciousness, each and every part of our body, we feel that. And they also get impacted. Now, that is how the enlightened persons, this concept of relics came into picture. It may be, as she said, it may be hair, it may be the tooth, and it may be nails. And these are the things which are considered as they're not going to be destroyed. Buddha, for example, Buddha is the only example where his tooth has been preserved as relics. And all stupas of Buddhism contain these relics of Buddha. So in Sri Aurobindo's case, Champaklalji, who was very close to Sri Aurobindo, and then he always kept on keeping that hair and then his nails, cut nails, etc. And now those things are available as relics of Sri Aurobindo and the mother. Naturally, one has to understand that Sri Aurobindo, his long tapasya, he is an avatar himself. The entire his lifelong journey was nothing but going up, higher up and higher up and higher up. So by the time 1950, the entire supramental consciousness, he had realized that the supramental consciousness, his own body, his entire body was surcharged with this supramental consciousness. And what is supramental consciousness for those who are not? It is the highest consciousness. Let us not go into too much depth into this, but it is the highest. It is the consciousness of the Supreme Lord. It is the consciousness of the Creator itself. So it is the highest This consciousness, supramental consciousness, descends, comes down from the highest summit of the Creator Himself. And this is where Sri Aurobindo is different from all others. For Sri Aurobindo, it is not individual moksha. For Sri Aurobindo, it is not just individual salvation. Not only reach, get individual salvation, but bring down that supramental consciousness down to the earth, into the lower nature, and transform the whole nature. This is the essence of integral yoga. Now, when one can see, one can ask how, what is the proof that supramental energy descended into the body of Sri Aurobindo? When Sri Aurobindo left his body in 1950, on 5th December, his body was surcharged so much, it never decomposed for almost about 5 days, 4 days. There was no sense of sign of decomposition. Many doctors came, because it was a French place, and then many French doctors, French government, it said that you cannot allow it's not right to keep the body after so many days. But there was no sign of decomposition at all of the body. Why? The descent of supramental consciousness does not get restricted only to physical body. The supramental consciousness is infinite. It doesn't go away with the body. It doesn't fade away with the body. It remains with you, and then it goes. It also is immortal. So it goes with that. So this body, so this Sri Aurobindo's body, which was completely supramentally surcharged, every part of his body was also completely supramentally surcharged. So Mother says very clearly that relics of Sri Aurobindo represents his physical presence. Wherever there is relics, you should think that it is the physical presence. So to me, today, it is not a celebration of 25 years of relics. It is actually, for us, we should express our gratitude. It's a gratification that Sri Aurobindo, after having come here, he is bearing all of us with all our imperfections, with all our wrongdoings. We are all human beings. We all have lots of negativities, even now. Even a small negative thought will probably harm Sri Aurobindo, who is staying right above. And if disharmony is there, if there is no harmony, there is no dedication, there is no offering, all these things probably will do a lot of impact. So Sri Aurobindo is physically there, and then his grace is there. So that's why wherever the relics is there, if one is little sensitive, he or she will definitely feel the change in the vibrations in that place. So whoever enters this campus, I'm sure everybody will feel the change in consciousness, the change in the atmosphere, or in simple language, one can definitely feel the change in the vibes, in the frequency, in the vibrations itself. One can definitely feel the vibrations of it. And so this is as far as the relics, significance of the relics is concerned. Many people have actually asked me, what exactly is the relics? So relics we know, but Mother gave a lot of importance to these relics. And sending relics to outside ashram was a big protocol. Mother established a very great procedure, very elaborate procedure for it. Now, it was not that easy. The first thing you will have to make a request for the relics part of it, and then it has to be approved. It used to be approved by the Mother herself, and the relics can go here, relics cannot go here. And then this relics comes to you in 5 boxes. The first box is the golden box, the smallest. Okay. The second box is the silver box. Then the third box is the sandalwood. Fourth box is the teakwood. Then the fifth one is the rosewood. So there is a rosewood box, which Sri Aurobindo symbol embossed on it. It is about 4-inch by 4-inch or 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters box. So there is an outside rosewood box with Sri Aurobindo's symbol on it. There is then teakwood box, then there is sandalwood, then there is silver, then there is gold, and in that golden box, the relics. So these are the 5 boxes representing the 5 layers of human construction. Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. The rosewood represents the hardest, the solid Annamaya Kosha. That is how the boxes, meaning of those boxes represent, they form the relics. And when mother gave the relics, so the relics is kept in Sri Aurobindo's room. I'm sure all of you have seen Sri Aurobindo's room. It is kept in Sri Aurobindo's room, where we now visit, on a stool, on a very beautiful velvet cloth. Then there is a steel tray, and that is with velvet cloth with lot of flowers, then incense sticks, in between, well decorated, and in between that, this box is kept. And whoever is probably chosen by the divine will only have an opportunity to touch that relics part of it. So whoever he comes, whoever is requested for it, they have to give 3 names, and mother will choose one name to whom the relics can be taken. And the moment the relics is taken, normally they used to advise that it should not be kept anywhere down below until it is enshrined in the designated place. We used to have, they used to have lot of problems when it was abroad. The long drive and long flight times, etc., etc. And it had to undergo scanning also through scanning machines. So mother had given special permission only to those a few centers which are abroad, for example, in London, and it went to Florida and several other places where relics have gone. But in general, this is in principle where a lot of importance is given to the this aspect of relics, which gets. Then it goes here. Then it all depends on how everyone receives the relics. So here, on today, the relics came, and how we received it, what we received it, what kind of celebration it was, that we are going to see. But before coming to that point, I would like to take this opportunity to tell you all what exactly is this. This is today what we are going to witness is actually the story of Sri Aurobindo complex. That is this entire complex, its humble beginning, its grand vision, its offering, its manifestation, and the dedication of a few who decided to walk the path of integral yoga, the yoga of perfect perfection of Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo's yoga is also called the yoga of perfect perfection. And what is Sri Aurobindo complex mission? To disseminate the immortal teachings of Sri Aurobindo and the mother. Now let us go back. Sri Aurobindo came to Pondicherry. I will not go back too early, but 4th April 1910, Sri Aurobindo arrives in Pondicherry for the first time, where his spiritual life actually begins. He comes there on Adesh. Before that, he comes to India in 1893. But after that, it is basically his involvement in freedom movement, etc. But to Pondicherry, he comes in 1910. After that, the story begins here. He comes to Pondicherry on 4th April 1910. Mother comes to Pondicherry for the first time on 29th March 1914. So in these 4 years, quite a few people who were together with Sri Aurobindo in his freedom movement, and then few other people, they come together, they start staying with Sri Aurobindo. And when mother comes, then she stays there for about a year with Sri Aurobindo, and then decides that she would be his spiritual collaborator and then continue to stay with her. But unfortunately, she had to go back because of the World War I. So 1916, she goes back and then again comes back on 24th April 1920 for good. So, but in between 1910 and 1914, lot of these activities keep happening. Sri Aurobindo stays somewhere else, not in the present ashram. He stays in one of the buildings. Still, people are searching for him. So he stays in Rangachetti's house. There is a house called Rangachetti. He stays in Pondicherry, in one of those streets of Pondicherry. And then slowly they move to the main buildings of the ashram. So in 1914, during that time, between 1910 and 1914, now we shift our focus to Karnataka. There were quite a few people who actually were awed by that time. He was not Sri Aurobindo Ghosh, he was still Arvind Ghosh or Aurobindo Ghosh. They were awed by his writings. And Sri Aurobindo for them is the one person who can change anybody with his writings. Because his writings in Bande Mataram, his writings to the youth of the India, etc., when he was completely involved in the freedom movement, this was they were awed by him. But they were all Kannada people, but extraordinary people. So they started, these are the people who they were involved. Can you recognize anybody there? Aurobindo, V.K. Gokak. Third one is Simpi Linganna. Fourth one is Madura Channa. Madura Channa is a pen name of Alasangi Channamallappa. R.R. Divakar, who was the first editor-in-chief of Samyukta Karnataka. He was very close with Jawaharlal Nehru and very influential person. Next one is N.K. Kulkarni. He was the chief of All India Radio, Dharwad. Amin Sayani was his best friend. You hope you remember who is Amin Sayani? Vinaka Geetmala, Ceylon. So, after that is R.S. Mugli. These were the actually extraordinary intelligent people, Kannada literatures. They were equally good in English. And this is a story, but I didn't want to take that, but please, this person, Madura Channa, Halasangi Channamallappa, he belongs to a place called Halasangi. Never studied English in his lifetime. His village had only 15 houses, cannot be approached by anywhere. All his village speciality was lot of water around his village and only peacocks. He never understood what Sri Aurobindo is, but he became, because of Aurobindo, he was drawn into the vortex of Sri Aurobindo's ideology, Sri Aurobindo's philosophy. Without knowing English, without studying English, this man becomes expert in English, French, German, Spanish, Latin, Greek. In those days, where there is no phone, there is no communication, no YouTube, no videos, all through correspondence course. And then finally, he writes commentary on Life Divine in Kannada. Why I'm forced to tell you is, this is what we call the physical manifestation of the grace. I'm sure you all have heard Sri Aurobindo, but one has to become little sensitive. What exactly is that grace? In what form it comes? From where it comes? If we are not sensitive about it, we just feel that, it is just a coincidence. Okay. So anyway, these are the people. And when we go back, these are the people who actually started the movement. They started, in fact, going to Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Pondicherry, met the mother, saw Sri Aurobindo, came back, and then they started. That Sri Aurobindonian movement in Karnataka actually started in 1914. 1914, they start this, and they call it as Geleyara Balaga, And these They formed this group of friends. Almost there were about 56 uh, groups, 56 what we call them centers and other things. So there were 56 Gelayara Balagas in Karnataka. And after the passing away of Sri Aurobindo, after Sri Aurobindo left his physical body in 1950, suddenly this group came, I mean, it went silent. Nothing worked. Nobody came forward. But there were many people, except these people, many devotees who were associated with that. They went to Sri Aurobindo Ashram, spoke to the mother, and settled in Sri Aurobindo Ashram. They became, then they started concentrating on their individual sadhana. All these things started happening, and for almost about 2 years, I mean, 2 decades, 20 years, the whole thing was absolutely silent. So from almost 1950 to 1970, it becomes silent. Now we start our work here. So now I say how we have started this journey after 1970. In from 1969, I have divided this whole presentation into 4 phases. First phase is between 1969 and 1989. Second phase, 89 to 99, 99 to 2006, 2006 to till today. So these are the 4 phases what we will give you. Honestly speaking, I really don't know how I synchronize my talk with the what is happening there, because I've just in only 2 days it's all these things have been collected and then brought together. But let us see how it goes. Now this is the first phase. Let us get into this. So now I have some photographs of this thing. 1968, 28th February 1968. What was the day? It was the day when Mother inaugurated Auroville. She laid foundation for Auroville, the international city. All of us were aware of it. In Karnataka, Mother chose an individual called S.V. Sabnis, who was an engineer in North Karnataka, very remote village. He was working for PWD. He was decided and declared by his superiors and by the concerned ministers unfit to be in PWD because he never allowed anybody. He was too straightforward and then corrupt free. So he was declared as unfit, and then he was sent to Bangalore to serve in State Vigilance Commission technical cell. So he comes to Pondicherry very happily because it is closer to Pondicherry. The person who initiates S.V. Sabnis to Sri Aurobindo's ideology is his relative, his maternal uncle, Dr. Dara Bendre. So Dr. Dara Bendre and N.K. Kulkarni, they are related. So they are related to S.V. Sabnis. So that is how he gets drawn into Sri Aurobindo's ideology. And the first time, S.V. Sabnis, along with his family members, first time go to Pondicherry, attend first is the balcony darshan. Once he comes back and starts Friends of Auroville group. So that is the starting point of Karnataka. In 1969, the Friends of Auroville group starts. This 1969 to 1972, for the next 3 years, what he does is first come together, bring several of his engineer friends, all seniors, engineers. You can imagine engineers in those days were really very, very well read, and people like K.G. Katwe, B.C. Angadi, and Anantramaya, Venkat Narsappa, many people, many such people, engineers who were actually known for their integrity. They came together and they become part of this Friends of Auroville group. Auroville is an international city, and the planning of Matri Mandir is happening, designing of Auroville is happening, the master plan for Auroville by Angio Roger is happening. Everything is happening. A lot of French architects are involved in it. Everybody is involved in it. So when this is happening, as engineers, they're naturally drawn towards the designing part of it. And then so Matra Mandir was one of the biggest globe in the world even today. So it's a spherical. So when that is happening, they were drawn. So they called it as Friends of Auroville Group. Slowly, what they had was they had these 56 centers or groups of Gelayara Balaga. So all those Gelayara Balaga 56 were coordinated, reorganized, brought together, and then they became 41 centers. There was no branch except Halasangi. So all these things came together and then they were reorganized, brought it down to 41. They came down to 41 centers. So 1969 to 72, between 1969 and 72, as I said, engineers came together, all centers and zones, centers. They divided in for administrative purposes. They did all those things. Then in 1972 is the centenary year of Sri Aurobindo's birth century, 1872. So this was one of the biggest functions for Friends of Auroville Group, which had formed in 1969. So these are the photographs, some of the photographs where these photographs are, I don't know, very, very precious. He is the governor of Karnataka, Govind Narayan. I don't know how many of you recognize. And he was the general secretary. Navjat Poddar, he is the first general secretary of Sri Aurobindo Society, whom mother appointed him. And he is S.V. Sabnis. And on the last is V.K. Gokak, who is sitting. The same photographs of the Friends of Auroville Group. And that is Mr. Katwe, K.G. Katwe. An extraordinary English literature. He used to recite Keats, Dante, Longfellow, Shakespeare, anything you say, on the spot, entire thing he used to bring it together. And he is Jnanapith Prashasti Award winner of Oriya, Manoj Das. Professor Manoj Das. You all must have seen them, but they're quite old now. They're all very young photographs. And this is another lot of activities kept on happening in those areas. And he is Mr. B.C. Angdi, and this is Anantramaya, and Anantramaya, K.S. Anantramaya. And he is, can you recognize Vaishali? He is Maheshwari, Dr. Maheshwari. And actually, he is the one who was responsible for my transformation. I heard him for the first time in Alsur, and I came back crying. I was probably 10 years old, only crying. And from that day onwards, I was probably drawn into that. And this is another photograph. So these are the photographs where, and this is the photograph where Friends of Auroville Group used to organize a lot of exhibitions throughout Karnataka, throughout many people, and all institution of engineers and all those places, they used to exhibit this, all these photographs, spoke about their activity. And they used to go to different places, in schools, colleges, everywhere. Now, this is the period 1989, but this is the Mirambika school teachers. Please note, these are your first 3 classrooms of under construction, where 1980, these are the photographs which were pertaining to the first phase only, but let me give you some photographs beyond these photographs. 1980 actually is one very important date when the Friends of Aurobindo group got its new name and it was called Sri Aurobindo Society Karnataka. It was in 1980. And later in 1984, all these senior people, KG Katwe, Anantramaya, and all BD Jatti, former Vice President of India, this campus has got extraordinary history in the sense Chief Justice of Supreme Court, E.S. Venkatramaya ji, Nittur Srinivas Rao, then B.D. Jatti as former Vice President of India, and all chief ministers except Yediyurappa and all governors except the present governor, all of them have visited this place in one form or the other. You will see those photographs. But in 1984, these people together requested government for a piece of land. Ramakrishna Hegde was the chief minister. He was gracious enough to accept to the land, and in 1984 the land was allotted. That is, this what you see is exactly 220 feet in length, 280 feet by 220 feet. That is approximately about 1.25 acres is this campus. This land was allotted. When this land was allotted, we did not have any money. Only land was allotted. We did not have any fencing. So it was only the donation which kept on coming. We kept on collecting the donation, and we somehow, SV Sabnis collected about 25 lakhs and then constructed this building, and we tried to fence the three sides of it, at least. On the back side, it was a big ground, so we didn't, we thought that BDA will do it, so it was not done. So on the three sides, only barbed wire fencing was done. And then came 1988. These are the three buildings what we started with Pratibha as Sabnis as the first teacher. And she started this Mirambika school in one of the rooms where then afterwards Ramadevi, who came and then joined as the second teacher of Mirambika school. And this is in one of these rooms, the LKG, the baby nursery classes started. So you can imagine how those children who studied, who joined here for the first time, how they must be really cursing their parents. In what kind of schools our parents have put it. But without knowing, no, but there was, without their knowledge, there was grace which, encompasses them. So Sri Aurobindo calls it as circumconscient. One of those protective areas, the layer which separates the universal, the macrocosm and the microcosm, you can say. If man is a microcosm and macrocosm is the universe, there is a separation layer which Sri Aurobindo calls as circumconscient. And it is where the universal forces interact with the human being and the universe through that envelope. So anyway, so this is the first. Then comes 1989, where with B.D. Jatti as the first chairman of Sri Aurobindo Society Karnataka, KG Katwe, whom we saw as the vice chairman of Sri Aurobindo Society Karnataka, and SV Sabnis as the secretary of SASK, come together and they start this. In 1973, there is an interesting story. In 1973, Mother accepts FAG, that is Friends of Aurobindo Group, as part of Sri Aurobindo Society. And that is where, when SV Sabnis gets his name Shriji through MP Pandit. So MP Pandit informs SV Sabnis that you can change your name and it could be Shriji. So from that day, he's known as Shriji for all of us. So this is the first phase of the journey. Now let us go to the second phase of journey. Now, second phase of journey is between 1989 and 1999. I told you the land we got, and this was the land what we got. Those are the fences. First one was this corner board, what we placed it here, and it was the fencing was there. And this is again the same picture of the fencing. And what you see here is uh, Chiranjeevi Singh. He was the first principal secretary of Karnataka government. And this, I propose, I hope you recognize. And this is Shriji S.V. Sabnis. So I was involved in that. So in 1991, 1991, Shriji, along with the other members of Sri Aurobindo Society, Karnataka, and they start working on how to develop. Now we have the land, how to develop the land. Because all these are still serving. They were all in government offices. They all knew all the ministers, where to catch, whom to catch. All of them knew everything. The land was there. Then they started preparing for a blueprint of 260 lakhs. A massive budget and outlay of project was done for about 260 lakhs. At this point in time, Sri Vijay K. Poddar, who is now in Delhi, and Pradeep Naran, all these people had got involved into it from Sri Aurobindo Society, Pondicherry, and they were guiding at every step. They were involved. And with the help of Sri Vijay K. Poddar, we could approach anybody at any point in time. He was so influential. Even now he is so influential. He could use is just a phone call, and then we could get admission into any. Ami Deshpande was their advocate. So now these are they actually we started preparing this. This budget was prepared. They were all government engineers. They knew, they were extremely adept in this budget preparation in the way government wants it. Everything. So they knew all the things, and ultimately, government did sanction about 135 lakhs. The project was 260 lakhs, and then they said, you match the half of it, we will give you half. So, but didn't have any money, but anyway, we started the project was started. So the project was started, and it was that time the entire plan was lot of this was Ramakrishna Hegde was instrumental, and this is how the government architect, because it was money was given by the government, we had to go through government architecture department. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, T.R. Rajan was the government architect who was with the government of India, government of Karnataka, PWD. He gave this, he saw this concept. These were the drawings which were now. Not much change of it was there. So we presented, all these things were presented, and this was the model actually which was created at the before even the construction began. And this is the first time. Had only half of money, and we started this anyway. This construction was started. By that time, I had returned back to India for good. So this was the first construction of this particular hall where we are sitting. It was that, and this is how it looked for a very long time. Very plain, without anything. And actually, the top of it, this one we designed. And when I was in IIT Madras, along with my PhD friend, this building was designed. This was not given to any other architect, but this building, what we designed, was given. But automatically, when we knew this, I was somewhere else. But the person who was doing it along with me did not have any clue of what Sri Aurobindo symbol is. But when we drew the drawing, Sri Aurobindo's symbol was here. what you see. If you can just lift your head, the entire beam configuration is Sri Aurobindo's symbol. So for my father, it was a complete sanction of by the divine, by the mother and Sri Aurobindo, that they themselves have manifested directly in the form of symbol. And they were sure at that point in time, this center, this branch will grow forever. So this was the first building. And the first building was inaugurated. This was inaugurated in 1993. You can recognize he is Shivraj Patil, who was the Lok Sabha Speaker, Moili, who was the Chief Minister, and Dr. Yash Venkatramaya ji. These were the main people who actually inaugurated this building where we are sitting. It was incomplete. This is the ground floor. It was the inauguration of the cultural hall. This time it was called cultural hall because a lot of activities. We did not have any other building also, but a lot of other activities were happening. But the first focus was on completing this meditation hall. Meditation hall also, by for this itself, there was a lot of complications. Then the money got exhausted. Contractor locked the building and then went. So we didn't have money and it was in locked. There was a legal battle for almost about 1 year. And it all went on like this. And finally, we could again get the money, then gave it to the contractor. He continued and the work. That is how it was completed. And parallelly, this building was happening, the ground floor of it, and the adjacent building, what is there at the back, uh, the uh, the printing press building at the back now, where all the gymnasium, the PT teachers, everybody sit. That was the building which was there. There it was earlier a printing press. And this is the same figure when the inauguration of that happened. He is Vijay Poddar, Dr. Vijay Poddar of Delhi, whom I was talking. He was the one. And this is again, and at that was also coincided with the arrival of Sri Aurobindo's to India. 1893 was the arrival of Sri Aurobindo for the first time to India from England, and that coincided, and that also was taken as a part of celebration. And this was Sidramaya, the present chief minister, who came to inaugurate the printing press. The building, what? Look how end they were on. I should show this photograph to Sidramaya now. R.V. Deshpande. This is Pratibha, Sidramaya, Venkatramaya, R.V. Deshpande, Vijay K. Poddar, Sri Sabnis Sriji. And he is a Chief Justice Balkrishna, who also had joined. And I always used to be at the back because they never allowed me in the front. This was the same function, it used to be there. And then we took the next construction of this building as we see it now. When slowly the money started coming by way of donation, by way of government grant, not fully, very, very little. And R.V. Deshpande was the industry minister. He was very helpful. And he used to help. We got money from Tatas, we got money from so many other donors. We used to get money, and then that is how this whole thing started coming up. And now these are the few construction photographs. You are now seeing a very beautiful meditation hall, which is almost about 70 feet height. But the construction was extremely complicated. You can see this construction, how it was. And this was the crane which used to hoist the globe, what is there on the top now. This is the globe. It was massive work. And You can see those people. This was the team actually. They used to come and then used to inspect what the work was happening because the government was fund was there. BD Jatti was by then he was the former president of India, and BC Angadi, BD Jatti, KG Katwe. He's GS Nagraj, who is right in front of the school. He was treasurer subsequently, and he was the contractor, Murugesh. These were the meetings, site meetings that were happening, and this is the school building. Slowly, along with that, all the school building. This is the toilet block, and the earlier playground. What it is now was not there earlier, but it was in a different place. And these were the kinds of meetings used to happen in house and in somebody's house, etc. And this was the period when Sri Aurobindo Society Karnataka became extremely uh, active, and they formed what is known as high level executive committee by government of Karnataka. And lot of meetings used to happen in Vidhan Sauda in the presence of chief ministers, principal secretaries, chief secretaries. Several activities used to happen, and this is in one of the Vidhan Sauda high level executive committee meeting. Another absolutely brilliant person who helped was this man, who was the chief secretary of government of Karnataka, T.P. Isar. T.P. Isar, Isar's name you must have sent. All the beauty what you see in Bangalore is because of this person. He was an extraordinary, brilliant IAS officer. And he is Nittur Srinivas Rao. And these were the kinds of programs which used to be there. Several activities happened, and R.V. Deshpande, Sri Vijay K. Poddar, Pradeep Narang, and many again, E.S. Venkatramaya ji, Sri ji, all these people worked extraordinarily. A lot of felicitations used to happen. And Ashok Ganguly, the former, now the director of CBSE. So he visited the school, the campus. He was here for the first time, and this was a great moment. This was he came around that time. David Frawley, I don't know how many of you know David Frawley. He now sits only in Srirangam Temple, Garbha, Sanctum Sanctorium of Srirangam Temple. Most of the time he is there. He is a Vedic scholar, a great Vedic scholar, and that is how he looked. Now he's extremely old, but that is how he looked. And now this is actually during inauguration of the guest house by Ramadevi also took place. That comes in the third phase, which we will tell. Now, by this 1999 to 2006, this is the phase 3 we come. And this is the phase when the relics came to this center. 2000. 11th June 2000, the relics came to this thing. This was the most awaited auspicious moment had come. By that time, we had also requested the government of Karnataka to name the road as Sri Aurobindo Marg. It was for the first time, it was so complicated to make the government accept to name the road for such a long route. Even now it remains it starts from Cosmopolitan Club, Jayanagar, and comes through all the main fourth block, the entire 11th main process, comes to Astor Hospital, takes a right turn, and up to this point, it is Sri Aurobindo Marg. And you will see about 3 to 4 boards which display as Sri Aurobindo Marg. So by that time, this was there, and this day was the most awaited auspicious day for Sri Aurobindo complex here. and 2000 was where the CM SM Krishna was the chief minister, and he was called for the inauguration of this. In between this, there was also how we went through, how Sriji went, and then this is how the relics was given to Sriji in Sri Aurobindo Ashram. And the first, when they, before going to hold the relics, they were all made to go to the Samadhi, and that is the Samadhi place. And then he is given uh, this is in the ashram. You can make out these pergola, RCC pergola. So it is near Samadhi area. So a lot of people, Vaishali, this is Shama Didi. Yeah. So they are coming towards the main gate. They're just is still inside the ashram. So it's a big festival for ashramites, for people who take it, who are coming and all these things. And when they come out of the gate, Pradeep ji was also there, and Sushila Ben was there, and Sriji, who has relics in his hands, and other ashramites are there. This is Shama Didi is there here, and he is Krishnendu. And now it came to Bangalore. It was the relics was brought to Bangalore. The entire relics started on the elephant from Cosmopolitan Club. It walked through the entire Sri Aurobindo march. That time we had few students. They also joined the march. Some children were at the back, some children were at the front, but it was very small group. Uh, this is how the march past happened. And these were the students. You can imagine. This was all through. This is how fourth block also looked. With lot of splendor, joy. And we were all waiting here in Sri Aurobindo complex for the chief guests and many guests of honor and for the relics to come. And Deshpande was one of the chief guests. SM Krishna was there. They were, Anant Kumar was also there. Anant Kumar was from BJP that time. Anant Kumar was there. So these people were witnessing how the globe has gone up and what does it mean. So then Sriji was explaining them how it went up, how we took, what kind of special care was taken. Lot of engineering also has gone into it. And he is Sri Arindam Basu, one of the very senior most sadhaks of Sri Aurobindo Ashram. Mother used to send one or two people along with the relics. So for us here, Udar Pinto and Sri Arindam Basu, they came along with the relics, but it was brought by Sriji. So this was when it came, the program was happening and Arindam Basu is being received. And this is what we had the present Samadhi, what was there. So we had kept a small opening here. So everything is to be kept ready. And one of those ashramites come and see when everything is ready, then only it will be allowed to leave ashram, main ashram there. So when it is confirmed, they came and we just keep the box inside it, put the sand and close it. So that was exactly done here. And the relics enshrinement is happening on this day. And in the evening, we had this is the USP of Mirambika School. Uh, Cultural program. For everything, there was a cultural program. So this was cultural program, one of the best cultural programs, and done by children and teachers together. And this was one of the programs where it was teachers, staff, all were got involved in it. And this is on Mother India. And then comes the guest house. The guest house, what we see now, there it comes, the guest house is there. This was the earlier plan of the guest house, and this is how the guest house gets built there. And Rama Devi, R.V. Deshpande was a regular visitor, kind of a thing for us. So uh, Rama Devi, who was the governor at that point, she came for the inauguration of the guest house, and this was done on 17th June 2002. The guest house was inaugurated. Lot of activities. This is the same function. What you the Pradeep ji is there. Uh, this is Mrs. Uh, please silence. And this is Pradeep Bhaiya, R.V. Deshpande, Ramadevi, governor. She was, what is her name? She was the principal, Mary D'Souza. Mary D'Souza was the principal of Vidambika School. This is Mrs. Shankar Bidri. So a lot of programs was happening, and this is in the meditation hall. We used to make, or Sriji used to make, sit everybody on the floor, whoever it is. And this is the function. We had a great support. Actually, yes, this is we were lot of people were instruments of on the ground here, but lot of support from Pondicherry, from Pradeep Bhaiya was also young at that point in time, full of energy. Vijay K. Poddar, Vijay N. Poddar, they used to guide. Lot of guidance was there, how to go about it. So these are the photographs, some of the photographs, and a lot of people used to come. And this is where, and this was she was Suman Sudhindra, who was the next principal, and that is Lahiri ji. And these were the teachers. Can somebody recognize some of them? I think this is Loma Didi, whom Loma Didi, she is Anupama, she was Hindi teacher. Anupama Didi, Nirupama, yeah. Okay. So these were the teachers, and he is Kirit Joshi. Kirit Joshi, he visited at that point in time. He was advisor to uh, Narendra Modi in Gujarat as an advisor for education department. He was also a great educationist. He was an IAS officer, ICS officer, and one of the very old, a great scholar of Kirit Joshi. You have so he's and Lahiri ji. Many of us, even now he's the trustee. Rama Joyce, Chief Justice, and this was the interaction with Sriji and another Sriji, three Srijis. Between three Srijis and one Sriji, this was the interaction which happened. And by now, Sriji was 85 years and he wanted to hand over the baton. He had played his role magnificently, and came this day when he was felicitated. He was Nadkarni ji, who also left an authority in Savitri. This is my father Sriji, my mother. This is Chin. No, Chidanand. Chidananda Murthy. Chidananda Murthy, who was Kannada Sahitya Parishad chief at that point in time. And this is the last felicitation day for Shriji. It all had happened here in this ground. And then came the phase 4, 2006, 2025. It was made, majority of the construction was over. And in November 2006, I took charge as Sri Aurobindo Society Chairman Karnataka and Chairman of Mirambika School, and also Managing Trustee of Sri Aurobindo Complex Trust. So it's almost, for me also, it is 19 years after literally I have taken charge. And this is how in 2006, the Sri Aurobindo completed Sri Aurobindo complex started looking. The period of post-enshrinement of relics, it saw a consistent growth between 2006 and 2025 till now. And when the construction had taken place, all these places were not like this, what you see. Because it was government fund, lot of shortage of fund, we somehow wanted to complete it. The shell was complete. The flooring was not to the satisfaction. It never, mother would not have approved it. But it all happened. But the outside shell was complete. Everything was complete. And for me, it was when in the fourth phase came, we wanted to first make this vibe, make this whole place fit for the relics. How do we? Because Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati are the powers of mother. And when Mahalakshmi is there, Mahasaraswati is there, it cannot be ordinary. It need not be rich, but the sense of opulence cannot go. The cleanliness, perfection has to reflect in some way or the other. So that was the prime, the priority. And between 2006 and 2025 till day, it was a period of consolidation, enhancing existing facilities, building new infrastructure, new facilities, and then publishing a lot of Sri Aurobindonian literature in Kannada, which came in this period, and setting up new integral education center, writing integral education books, publishing integral education books, and introduction of new system of education in Mirambika in their own way, and the growth of complex thus reached new heights, and enhancing the membership grew. Lot of visitors started coming to the complex. Lot of things happened. And between 2006 and 2008, lot of restructuring happened. And what we saw, these were the completely renovated structures after 2006, how it happened. And you will wonder, any education institution in between here, those who have seen this campus earlier, they would remember this was not the courtyard. There was an ugly building standing, 2-floor building standing here in between. We could not, there was no courtyard, there was no playground. Your assembly now, what it happens, used to happen somewhere in some other ground. So it was not the only institution which demolished the building for the sake of students to create a courtyard, to create a clean atmosphere. It was only this possibility. I had lot of opposition from everybody to demolish that building. I said, nothing doing. It has to be demolished. The only person who supported me at that point in time was Pradeep ji. Pradeep ji supported, Vijay Podar ji supported. You go ahead, and now 1,200 chairs can be put in this area. Other main thing, when this was created, then stage had to be shifted, obviously. The stage was also not there. It was a very small stage. All these fine small things which added value, it kept on adding new dimensions to the whole complex. And then came the another big feather in the cap of 2013, 25 years of Virambika, APJ's visit, Dr. Abdul Kalam's visit to the campus. And first he said, no, all the credit should go to Pratibha Didi, who, who constantly followed with Rashtrapati Bhavan. He followed with why, when, and finally we were said he is not coming. After 6 months of effort, we were told he is not coming. And on one fine day in the evening, we get a phone call saying that tomorrow by evening, APJ is visiting Bangalore. Would you like to host him? I was not even given 24 hours time. Not even 24 hours, believe me. But I said, yes, we will do that. The moment I said yes, within half an hour, host of entire police station of Bangalore poured into this campus. We want to chuck this, we want to chuck this, we want to chuck this, security arrangement. When do I make arrangement? How do we inform teachers? How do we inform people? How do we inform parents? What kind of pendal? What kind of on stage? What kind of backdrop? How do we make backdrop? And APJ had very specific requirements. His podium has to be so high, and there should be a platform of 3 inches for him to stand. There cannot be one platform. There has to be 2 different podiums. All other people have to speak from one other podium, only dedicated podium for the president. And that laptop should have connection for the internet, etc. Because his questionnaire, he has a question bank which appears on the system. And that is how he answers thousands of questions. Immediately, all these things, how do we make arrangements? But believe me, we did this whole night. Within whole night, everything was done. Pendal was put, around 1,200 people gathered. And when APJ came, all local politicians from MLA, corporator, his assistant, everybody wanted to go on the stage. We had only few chairs on the stage. Then I had to be very rude to them. I said, please. I requested the police, and they helped us to go back. Then when APJ started, he saw all seniors sitting in the front, children are sitting in the back. He said, I'm not going to speak until all front rows go to the back and children come in the front. And that is how he finished the program. His program was to stay in our campus for about an hour. For some reason or the other, it extended to about 5.5 hours or 4.5 hours. He stayed with us for 4.5 hours, and then suddenly lunch, to arrange lunch for the President of India. His people kept on telling us, you can offer him only coffee, nothing else, nothing he will take. But then when this happened, all of a sudden, we were supposed to arrange funds, for his dinner. And then started coming the suggestions. He likes small dosa, masala dosa, onion pakoda, vegetable sandwich. From where do we? Mini idlis. Luckily, I had a friend who was handling manager in Lalit Ashok. I called him and then said, you have to save us. And he said, no, don't worry, give me 1.5 hours time. He was here in 1.5 hour time with all the dishes they serve for President of India. Buffet was arranged here in 1.5 hours. Everything I was absolutely aware. He sat with us, discussed so many things, so many wonderful things. I was peak in my sustainability. I asked him, how do you define sustainability? It was APJ who told me it's a very thin line between need and greed. And this I had told this in what APJ's view is in my one of my United Nations representations in Singapore. So this was how the whole thing was changed, including the pavements and everything, the color, the meditation hall, the samadhi, the photographs. And we had lot of visitors from ashram who also came. He's Kituda. Then the festivals of Mirambika. Mirambika by then had reached new heights. It was absolutely Santosh Hegde. She is, what is her name? Mrs. Nilekani. Mahesh Joshi, who is now a lot of controversies happening. Sharda Didi. Hiranaya. This was in 2011. You can. Who was this Sharda Didi? Dancer, yeah. Actor and dancer, right? Coach and Basappa, these were the slightly Coach and Basappa, who is also retired High Court judge, senior most, and Professor Gurling Kapse, who also won Karnataka Sahitya Academy Award, Professor S.R. Malgi. Then we had youth group meetings, meditations. Shankar Murthy visited the place, who was the speaker of Karnataka. Children were thrilled. Wings of fire. This person is also no more. He was a great support to us. He was MLA Vijay Kumar. He died very young. Lot of books. Another authority in English and Kannada, Professor R.K. Kulkarni. And another important thing we did was during this, in all these legal battles and the development that happened, somebody had donated 700 acres of land to the mother. 700 acres near Gadag. That place is called Matapur. So 700 acres, this was very early. And when it happened, when the independence and all the new urban land usage laws, etc. came, emergency came, finally the 700 acres, it grew, it had grown into a forest actually. Finally, what was left was, I think, around 120 acres or something like that. And even in that 120 acres, after urban land sealing, everything came, Sri Aurobindo Society was left with about 8, 9, 20, nearly 20 acres of land. From 700 acres, it came down to 20 acres. So 20 acres was there, and most of it was encroached by government. I mean, the local government school was there, government police station was there, and in that 20 acres, the government had built the roads. All these things had happened, and we had no chance, so we wanted to sell that. So that was one of the biggest, and here I should thank Ravi Shankar, who worked on that entire Matapur land. We didn't have khatas. We didn't have, I didn't even know what the terminology is, what they use in those villages. How do we go about it? We got hold of, we regularized the lands, we regularized the khatas, which was almost about 120 years old, developed all these things. We had to make, Ravi Shankar had to make so many trips to other villages. And finally, we were able to sell it even to the last cent. And because for me, it was mother's money. We were so short of money here for everything and mother's money. And Pradeep Bhaiya was so gracious enough. He said, you keep that money for the use of Sri Aurobindo Society, Karnataka. So it was used here in Karnataka. It was not taken by Pondicherry. So lot of, and this is the place, how it looked. This is that Matapur land. And now in between, there was Yelavati school, another school which got developed with the help of volunteers. How a school can evolve. They have, in Mallakhamba, they have reached national level. We talk about that lab, this lab, so many, with so many facilities, with literally zero facility, Kannada medium school, with 200 children, dedicated teachers and dedicated management. They were all. So this, look at this girl. In a village, bringing girl children to the school itself is a big challenge. And now this school, lot of other ladies, they come to the school, they are taught computer, the literacy, how they are everywhere. Most of them are now can read their bank reports on phone, etc., etc. You know, that kind of literacy also has taken place. They are taught cycling, they are taught computer language, everything free of cost. So then we had lot of, I had an opportunity to meet a lot of people. He is Vikram Sampath, who is one of the internationally reputed author, Vikram Sampath. This is Lucky Ali, Mahmood's son. And he is the one who helped us, Sangappa Kori, a former army officer, who helped us, me and Ravi Shankar, to sell that Matapur land. One of the politicians in Dharwad. I had to go and first set up, consolidated these centers also. Lot of work. This is, we are now listed under Israel government. So we are invited for every Israel consulate's programs. And she is the Consulate General of Israel. He is Amrit Desai, who was the MLA of Dharwad. And then came the celebration of 150th birth anniversary of Sri Aurobindo. So that was a great opportunity. For the first time, we spoke a lot of efforts it took for us to convince the India Post. And then we brought out the first day cover of Sri Aurobindo as a part of 150th celebrations. And this was the cover. And we also parallelly released 150 as a part of it, Sri Aurobindo, the Constitution of India. This happened in Pondicherry. So it was done by Sri Aurobindo Society itself. So this is a wrong photograph. Nothing to connect it here. This was Rahul Bajaj. I was involved in Sharanam. I think some of the teachers who have gone to integral education training, this is where you had the training. And I was also involved in the design and construction of the Sharanam building. And this was when Rahul Bajaj had come. So I was taking. So this is nothing to connect with this. This was during Constitution of India, that book, what we saw, that was the release of it. And then we had this Chitrakala exhibition in Chitrakala Parishad. By that time, Vaishali was with us. She took most of my efforts, my activities of Bhavan and lot of team. He is V.K. Gokak's son, Anil Gokak, who was also an extraordinary IAS officer and a great mentor to me. And this thing, it is Arvi Jahagirdar, and this was in Chitrakala Parishad book exhibition. I hope you recognize everybody. So these are our teachers. Now I think many of them are here. And now you can recognize. I'll leave this slide for some time because everybody wants to see. And this was a COVID period. Believe me, I mean, everybody still wanted. And this is Chakravarti Sulibele, Tejasvi, Viresh Anand, Ramkrishna. This was the evening cultural program by Prabhat Kalavidaru. The Dharma Bhumi was an extraordinary. All of you have witnessed this. Don't have anything. This is one of the Jyoti Prasaranas where, for the first time, an Israeli consulate, deputy consulate, has come out to attend a program. The protocol never allows it. But he came here to Mirambika school to attend one of the Jyoti Prasarana programs in this thing, and he was so fascinated by this yellow jacket. And this is Selva Kumar, Principal Secretary Education, who also visited this Mirambika school campus. He released the integral education books officially, and she's another retired senior IAS officer. And these were the books which all of you have seen, which he released. And this was the function there at Nimhans on 7th August. This is Makrand Paranjape. If you have heard of, I'm sure people would have known. Alokda is here. The one in the yellow jubba is Alokda. And this is Aryamuniji. Satyavrataji is sitting here. Aryamuniji was there on the stage. This is the evening team with Harish. And now comes the next phase, actually. But this is the land in 2016 we purchased, where we had a lot of, because of the legal battles that were going on, we wanted to have, and this is the land of New Oro School, what it is existing now. And this was, first thing I did was build the compound wall and grow the bougainvillea. And this is how the new school came into the picture. Classrooms. 2019 March 2024 unveiling or the inauguration of two school happened. Pradeep Bhaiya inaugurated it. This was all three schools team which came there. And this is again Shama Mishra, who is an IPS officer now, who came here to Mirambika. Now this year she is going to join her child to Aurobindo, which is because she's close there. So there were many individuals chosen by the Divine Mother for her work. Many served at her lotus feet and melted into her eternal embrace. We pay our homage to them. Many are still continuing to be her instruments, offering their services, and many new have joined us to take forward their immortal teachings. The divine work continues. No individual is indispensable. All of us have to contribute to the extent possible, and we should always take this You have all come in contact with Sri Aurobindo and the mother, and Sri Aurobindo and the mother are not like the gurus who are living here now. They never wanted to establish any creed, cult, or group or anything. They left the philosophy, the immortal philosophy, the ultimate aim of human life. So that was given to us. So it is our duty. We all come in contact. The divine chooses you before you choose the divine. So we all come in contact with the divine. We are all chosen ones. Whether directly or indirectly, the grace works upon us. And I myself is the example for it. The way their grace has worked on me since she has taken charge. The first time she kept her hand on me, I have now felt no shortage of anything in my life because I had all the four powers with me. But that dedication, that offering has to come. Then you are taken care of. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunities. But I would like to sum up. In summing up, the growth of Sri Aurobindo Complex Trust since its inception has been phenomenal, and it considered as one of the most outstanding unit of Sri Aurobindo Society across the globe. There were many individuals chosen by the divine for her work. This is what I read. But there are some of them who have left us. It is for us to pay homage and to remember them. Sriji, to begin with, Sri K.G. Katve, Anant Ramaya, Venkat Narsappa, Advocate Suryanarayan Rao, P.C. Angadi, P.P. Isar, B.D. Jatti, Sri M.P. Pandit, E.S. Venkatramaya, Nittur Srinivas Rao, Pratibha Sabnis, Chandramani, Purushottam Galgali, Dr. Narkarni, Kittuda, K.S. Ammur, all these people who were strong pillars of this institution, directly or indirectly. They never stayed here, but they were all, by being outside, by extending support, by guiding me throughout, guiding Sriji throughout. And it is no individual can do this kind of, establish this kind of, or manifest this kind of institution. Ultimately, at the end, Sri Pradeep ji, as chairman of Sri Aurobindo Complex Trust and also chairman of Sri Aurobindo Society, and Sri Vijay K. Poddar as trustee, who have seen the growth of this complex and still continue to support me and to guide me. So, with this, thank you all for the opportunity, and I hope this is the history. There were about 176 photographs. I am extremely sorry that I have crossed my limit, but this is the opportunity. I think once in 25 years, I think we should be able to take it.